the Charter of the African Union and the ECOWAS Treaty. 1 year, 4 months after the Commission's establishment, Minister Juara said a lot of progress along the common border has been registered.
I am happy to note that since its inception, tremendous progress has been made by the Commission through the series of meetings held in Banjul, Dakar and Ziguinchor with regards to the preparatory aspects of its operational activities. Equally, I am pleased to note that Banjul is hosting such a meeting for the 3rd time. Therefore, an example manifestation of the commitment of both countries is the timely resolution of issues along our border through dialogue, consultation, particularly in the Tuba, Tranquil, and Daslame areas.
Sekou Sanyang, head of the Gambian team, Colonel Sambafal, head of the Senegalese delegation, and Professor James Singate, outgoing Senegalese ambassador to the Gambia, all emphasized the need for officials of the two countries to use the document as a channel for resolving all border issues diplomatically anytime they arise. For that is what the peoples of the two countries expect from them, they added. Borders, they emphasize, should be seen as bridges and not barriers. The two teams now meet in Dhaka on the 2nd and 3rd of July for talks on funding. Modou Lamin Cisse, Grts News.
Descendants of the erudite Senegambian scholar and jihadist Maba Jahuba on Sunday held their annual ziyarah to reflect and reaffirm their commitment to the path of the man credited with reinvigorating Islamic teachings in the sub-region. The annual event, characterized by recitation of the Holy Quran, was held at the tomb of Sayyid Matiba, the celebrated son of Maba Jahu. Abubakar Dabo reports.
This is the 7th year members of the Maba Jahuba dynasty are joined by disciples and religious households from the Gambia and beyond to reflect on the strides and efforts of Sayyid Matiba, son of the erudite Maba Jahuba, in propagating Islam in the Senegambia region. Sayyid Matiba, who died in Bakau in December 1897, is described as a leading Islamist reformer who from 1880 to 1887 converted huge swaths of territories of Badibu and Salom into Islam. His considerable influence made the colonial administrators apprehensive about him, which led to his relocation to Bathos and then to Bakau after being defeated by the French imperialists in 1887. Imam Muhammad Lamin Ba, who heads the gathering, dilated on the significance of their ziyarat in not only recounting the excellent religious strides of their grandfather, but bridging the bond of trust and mutual respect among their individual families and other religious households. He spoke on the need to adopt and live the exemplary lifestyle of Sayyid Mati, who he described as a role model for Muslims. Alhaji Mansour Njai, a veteran broadcaster and historian, recounted the heydays of Sayyid Mati in Banjul and Bakau during the colonial era, drawing his conclusion that a man of exemplary character like Sayyid is a case of extreme rarity. He, like by Sheikh Jallo of Kercherno Jallo and Imam Aliuba of Nyoro, implored the faithful to follow the teachings of the great scholar and teach children about his exemplary way of life. A representative of the Khalifa of Maba Jahuba in Senegal pointed out that in order to enable people understand what Sayyid Mati really meant, occasions such as this one must be given priority. He called on the gathering to take their rightful roles in honoring the man described as the Omar Futi of Badibu. Imam Omar Jame and Pa Khali Sise, speaking on behalf of the host community, expressed their ownership of the occasion, which is summoned purposely for Allah's sake. They hailed the Bah families for sustaining the ideals of their grandfather and promised that the ziyarat will grow as it progresses. The mayor of Banjul, Samba Fall, who represented government at the occasion, described gatherings of this nature as blessings for humanity, pledging government support towards the annual undertaking. Other speakers at the ceremony included representatives of the families of Sheikh Omar Futi and Imam Maska. Like others, they refreshed their religious brotherhood towards the Maba Jahuba household, which they say is here to salvage the region. Remarks by the delegates and foundation members were preceded by recitations of the Holy Quran for 7 times, after which specialized prayers were offered, including one for the well-being of the Gambia and Senegal and their two governments. Abubakar Dabo, Grts.
The week-long joint donor review and supervision mission organized by the Basic and Secondary Education Ministry Friday came to an end at the Regional Education Directorate in Kanifing. Samuel Barr reports the forum focused mainly on the impact of aid in the education sector among a host of other policy issues.
These young people before your TV screens are armed with employable skills relevant to the needs of the country's labor market. They are holders of diplomas in the areas of architectural draftsmanship, business management and marketing, electrical installation, information communication and technology, sales and marketing, and travel and tourism. These, by all indications, are not only new in the...
Apologies for bringing the wrong report. That should be the report on Inside Training. Getting back to the story again, the week-long joint donor review and supervision mission organized by the Basic and Secondary Education Ministry Friday came to an end at the Regional Education Directorate in Kanifing. Samuel Barr reports the forum focused mainly on the impact of aid in the education sector among a host of other policy issues. Well, I'm afraid that story might come in after we take a short break. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in just a moment.
What's your AfriCell number?
773.
What's your mobile number?
735.
What's your AfriCell number?
746.
What's your number?
My number is 215.
2?
You mean 72?
No, it's 2, and I am AfriCell 2.
AfriCell 2? Hey, hey!
Yes, 2 is AfriCell 2.
Hey, hey!
AfriCell introduces the new AfriCell series, the number 2.
Welcoming the number 2 to the AfriCell family.
From now on, the AfriCell lines will not only start with the number 7, but also with the number 2.
Get a new AfriCell SIM card now that starts with the number 2.
So now I can get an AfriCell number that starts with the number 2?
Yes, and when you receive a call from a number starting with the number 2, it's one of the new AfriCell lines calling you. My mobile number is 2, and...
We are AfriCell 2!
Welcome back to Grts News outside the Gambia now. Army chiefs from the 15-member ECOWAS bloc have agreed to deploy the planned 3,000 troops to Mali by next week. This follows a meeting held in the Malian capital Bamako between ECOWAS army chiefs and government officials in means of retaking the north of the country from rebels. The bulk of the troops will come from Nigeria, Senegal and Niger. Let's take a look at this report for more on that.
Meeting in Abidjan, the chiefs of staff of ECOWAS have drawn up a plan for military intervention in Mali, mandated to the MISEMA mission of the group of West African states. The intervention force will include 3,300 men, with staff leaders scheduled to go to Bamako next week to prepare the deployment.
Most of the troops will be coming from Nigeria, Senegal and Niger. We're going to help the army of Mali to take back the north of the country, as should be done.
Present at the gathering in Abidjan, the chief of staff of the Malian army has given this operation his total support. He remarked that once and for all, the rebels who have ravaged the north of Mali must be dealt with.
The real problem is the occupation of the northern regions of the country by the rebels, the terrorists. This is the major problem. I hope that with our brothers and the entire international community, we will do what it takes to force them to leave.
The budget for the mission has not yet been allocated. In addition, the plan must be brought to the Security Council of the United Nations, which must approve of the use of force. The UN has not yet given an answer, but ECOWAS and the African Union have requested that the world body not take too much time with discussion before reaching a decision.
In the troubled Senegalese region of Casamance, a major demining operation has returned land to inhabitants of 6 towns and villages. The Senegalese government signed a peace deal with fighters of the separatist MFDC 8 years ago. We have details in this report.
A happy day for residents of Ziguinchor village in eastern Senegal's Casamance region. At last their homes have been cleared of landmines. Specialists removed the deadly ordnance left over from the insurgency which ended 8 years ago.
Never in our wildest dreams did we think we could really come back and live here. The village was full of